Hi guys, welcome back to part 3 of the Class 56 decoder DC sound installation. First thing we're going to address is I have made an error. The fan connections that I have used is not actually for the roof fans, it is for the fans of the smoke generator that you can fit. It's all geared up and organised. So, having got some more paperwork, so we've got the book, the ESU paperwork for the chip, what the functions are and where everything is on it, and now I've got the DC kits page printout from them. They actually give a wiring suggestion for the chip, so that tells us where we're going to connect everything up, and I'll take you onto the bench and show you what they've got, and then we'll carry on, finish this off and have it driving around on the layout. So, to the workbench. Here we have the ESU Decoder Layout with the connections. So I have used fan plus or minus for the smoke generator. So I'm going to disconnect the fans from that location. Ignore what I've scribbled here, I've got to change the notes. But what we have here is the yellow and green lights are the front headlights and marker lights, the red and black wires are the cab lights, and the blue and purple are the tail lights. The wires we are going to connect are the yellow, red and blue go to the U plus, as this diagram shows, and I'll do the same from the other end and bring them into the other U plus pad, just to save putting everything on one pad. We have two pads there we can use, and the green, black and purple go to the auxiliaries. Now I'll put 1 and 2, 3 and 4, which isn't quite right because here we have the printout of the page from DC Kits. Auxiliary 1 is the fan, so the red wire will go to the U plus, and the black wire will go where we've got the green wire here on aux 1, and then the red lights will be 2 and 3, and the cab lights, yep, will go on 4 and 5. And on the functions here, F12 will operate the roof fans, and 19 and 20 will be the cab lights. We'll disconnect the fan connections. Oh, that was quick. Tweezers, where's my tweezers gone? One wire and the other wire, so they're now disconnected. So the plus, which is the red, will go onto U plus, and this black wire I've got to loop round and fit onto aux 1. There we go. We'll leave that one out the side for later on. Auxiliary 2 are the red lights. So we'll do number 1 end first as auxiliary 2, number 2 end as 3, and the cab lights 4 and 5. So number 1 end is first on the order. Just to keep things simple, so we can remember which way round the lights are when we want to use the functions. So tail lights first. Tail lights are blue and purple wires. So we'll find the blue and purple wires from this end. There's additional wires because they loop in and out through switches, so you can switch them off, but we're we are not going to be using that because we are using the functions. So there's going to be a couple of extra wires, but we're not going to worry. Blue and purple. Blue is a negative because it goes to the common return wire there on the existing board. Here is the negative, which means the purple is the positive wire. So the purple wire that is not on the switch, but the one that comes from the light, will go onto U+. So we'll put that out of the way. This wire will just coil up with the blue wire. Get rid of this blue wire, tuck him out of the way because we'll use him in a minute. But this purple and this blue we'll just get them out the way. We'll just lay it this side. We'll lay it this side. This purple and blue I'm just going to wrap around my screwdriver. They're not connected to anything, and I'm just going to tuck them under the board just to hold them out of the way for a minute. So it leaves us, we've got red and black for the cab lights, purple and blue for the tail lights, and the green and yellow, which is still connected with the common green, for the front lights, which we have connected up already. This green is just a spare wire. We're not going to be using it because we've already sold the green feed direct from the light to the board itself. So again, this green and yellow wire here, move these out of the way, too many long wires. So that red one can go down there, this yellow one can go over here. We'll pull him out of the way for a minute. These two untangle. We'll just hang that out there, just out of the way. These two, which are connected to the switch, which we are not using. Again, we're just going to coil up and tuck out the way. Gives us some room. We can see what we're doing now. So the green is connected, this one will go to U+. This red will go to U+, this black will go to the auxiliary. So let's get this purple wire run round. We go underneath that red wire, keep it tucked down, so I'm going to just push it. Weave it under the other wires. Try and work out what we got. What's that wire down there? Let's get him out of the way. All the wires out of the way. Run this purple wire. I'm not going to have to snip any of this one off. Solder him auxiliary 2. And the purple wire from this end, we'll do exactly the same. We'll do exactly the same. We'll stick on auxiliary 3. Auxiliary 4 is the cab light, so the red and the black, so I want the black wire from this end. Again, we'll just pull these wires out of the way, feed him through. And the black wire, which is floating around here from this end, goes on auxiliary 5. So that's all the negatives done, but the eagle-eyed of you might see that I've just slightly melted that block here. So I'm just going to get my knife. I'm not going to dig out any of the holes because they're fine, I'm just going to scrape off the top. The holes themselves are fine. So that leaves us now with a red and a purple wire. Sorry, a red and a blue wire, I'm not that colour blind. This yellow wire, on that end. We have this red wire from the fan control board, the red, yellow and blue wire on here, which we can all disconnect. These are the positives of the lights, and they all get linked together. So now we have all the wires on the negatives connected up to the auxiliary terminals. We have the 3 light wires from number 2 end, the 3 light wires from number 1 end, and the fan, and they all connect together on these 2 U+ pads. According to the DC kit writer, the U+ requires a 1 kilo ohm resistor. Luckily I've got some of those, so what we'll do is I'll make up a resistor on a bit of wire to attach to each of the U+, so they each end can have its own feed, and then we'll connect them up. Here I have a pair of 1 kilo ohm resistors, 1000 ohms, brown, black, red with a gold band, approximately within 5% should be 1 kilo ohm. So what I'm going to do now is onto one leg is solder a wire, and onto the other leg I'm going to solder all the others from each end, just to make it neat and tidy. Then I shall cover these with a bit of heat shrink to make sure that we don't short out on anything. Okay, what we have here now is the 3 wires coming from the lights at that end, positive feeds. I've just slipped a piece of heat shrink over the end for the minute. I have my resistor with a wire soldered on one end with a bit of heat shrink, and now we're going to connect this end of the resistor to the other items, and which are all pre-tinned. Hopefully I can do this one-handed. Try not to get in the way. It's got that. Solid joint, so they can bring the heat shrink up. I'll put a slightly larger one this end because we've got 3 wires, and then we'll just shrink it down, and hopefully it'll shrink small enough. Just to hold them all together and protect them and not short circuit. I'm now going to get a slightly larger piece of heat shrink that I can lay over both ends just to make doubly sure. So I've repeated the exercise with the other set of wires and the wire from the the wire from the board for the fan. And all I'm now going to do is onto tabs U plus is now just fit that wire from that end, this wire from that end, and gently tuck them away. Out of the way, tuck you down there. So everything is now in the loco, neat and tidy. Nothing is shorting out on anything. Oh, hairs. Not mine. I'll just zoom out a bit. There we go. And got it. I'll tuck this one in on this way round, speaker down, tuck the wires in, and we are done. One chip goes on this way. Sound install complete. So we'll now take it over onto the layout and see if it works before we put the body shell back on. Well guys, on the initial testing I discovered the tail lights weren't working, and that threw me completely. I have the polarity wrong. The negative, the blue wires actually go on the board, not the purple, and the purple wires, not the blue, go to the U plus through the resistor. So I've now reversed the polarity on both of those, and we now have working lights. So I'll just go through it all with you. So the finalized connections, we have the green wires for lights forward and backwards. So they're the headlights for one end, headlight number 2 end. Then the motor connections, orange and grey, then red and black left and red and black right for the motor pickups. On the end here we have the speaker connections, one speaker there, one speaker there. This end here we have the black wire from the fan connection, the blue wires from the tail lights on 2 and 3,
and then the black wires from the cab lights on 4 and 5, and at each end we have the red, yellow and purple wire runs through the resistor to the U plus, and that's the same on both ends individually. That's the connections. So now let's have a play.
Well guys, there we go. I think we have a success. We got working lights, bits and bobs done. Yes, so there will be a follow-up video to this one, which will be when I get 56099 and the extra large chip, and we'll do a fitting of that one, which should be easier now that I know what I've done on this one. So that should be straightforward, easy peasy. So anyway, enjoy modelling, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.